I purchased the worst house in Geelong, and in this video I want to break down for you where the property is in Geelong, how much I paid for it, how much the renovations are going to cost updating the home and bringing it back to market standard, which is pretty high in the Victorian market, and I want to break down for you why I bought this property and how we see so much value in the Geelong market. If you're looking for a buyer's agent to help you buy in Geelong or in Melbourne, anywhere, whether you're an owner-occupier or an investor, head over to purposeproperty.com.au to book in a chat with myself. So where on earth is this property? Let's start off by taking you through the original real estate photos. I'll show you the exact location, and then we can break down exactly what my builder's doing on this project, line by line in terms of the project costs and items, exactly breaking down for you the numbers moving forward. So on screen here, you can see my latest renovation project, and this is 2 Hodges Court in Breakwater, Victoria. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath, 2-car property on 567 square meters, which is not a huge block, but I'll show you there's even potential to build a granny flat in the backyard down the track. Now, I just purchased this property around 5-6 months ago for $480,000. Now, the exciting thing here is there are other buyers agents and other people buying houses in these pockets for $600,000, $700,000, even up to $800,000. So this was bought in Breakwater, which is just on the south side from central Geelong. It's only a short 5-minute drive to the centre of town and not far away to access the train station and local shops and amenities. Now, Breakwater and Whittington are lower socioeconomic areas, and we'll take a look at them on the map now. So this is exactly where the property is located. So it's in a cul-de-sac. This is number 2. And if I switch to satellite view, you can see there's a local park just right nearby. Both of these cul-de-sacs have access to that local park, which is very nice. If we take a look at the street view, you can see there is a ton of foliage out the front of the house. It's been cut back since this Google photo was taken, and the roof's been redone since this property was purchased by myself, but there's a lot of work ahead of us, so there's more work to be done. And that's that local park down the end of the street. And you can see the street here, there's nice, small, basic homes here, brick homes, tiled roofs, reasonable veneers, and quite well-kept properties all around this street, even though it's a lower socioeconomic area. It's always interesting to look at the neighbouring houses, and you can see that I have easily bought the worst house on the street. So all the other houses in this street look far better than my little house here, but we're going to improve it. We're going to bring it back up to scratch so that people can enjoy it and renters can enjoy it moving forward. So before we dive in and look more at the photos, you can see where this is located. So this is in Breakwater, the suburb, and Whittington is the suburb right next door. It's located near the Gordon East Geelong campus here, which is a local school. The Newcomb Primary School is not far away, and there's some shops nearby and some main arterial roads. Now, Breakwater is split up as a suburb. You can see here it's got the racecourse, and there's a section of suburbia in here with the commercial property all around it. I wouldn't buy in this section of Breakwater myself. I bought in the Whittington side of Breakwater. So I bought in the section of Breakwater that's closer to St Albans Road. If we zoom out here, you can see St Albans Park, Whittington and Newcomb, all more affordable options just south of East and South Geelong. And so this is where we see a lot of value. This is where I've put my own money in the buyer's agency and as a professional investor in this location. It's not too far away to drive and go to the train station, in my opinion. It's got access to the CBD and got access to the bay as well. So although it's lower socioeconomic, you can buy houses in the 600 to 700K range here. It's good value, in my opinion, relative to more expensive suburbs like Highton and Belmont and Geelong itself. If we zoom out again, you can see that it's landlocked. So there's the main arterial roads here. You can see that there's the water on one side, and then we're backed onto bushland. Now, there is more development happening further out of the city. So you've got Charlemont, Armstrong Creek, Mount Dunedin, Grovedale, things like that. But the train line and the main arterial roads won't change. So that's why I'd much rather buy in these more established pockets than further out at Armstrong Creek, for example, where you're getting a lot of new build estates happening. And so this is where you get these cookie cutter homes on very small blocks. I would much rather have my block in Breakwater for a buy price of $480K and then renovate the home, which it needs extensive renovation. And you can see that new roof here. Now, you can even potentially get a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom granny flat out the back here with parking down this left-hand side. So let's take a better look. Now we know where the property is located, where it sits in the greater view of Geelong as a whole, and why I like the price point and the landlocked nature of it. Let's take a look more at the home now. So you can see this ugly duckling here. Yes, I paid $480, which in my opinion is a pretty crazy price. At the time, I think it should have sold for around that $520 mark. So I would have said $520 to $530 would have been fair market value for the property. But we did have issues, and we ran into more issues. The house had actually had a fire in it. The floors are falling out in the bathroom. So there were more issues because we bought the property sight unseen, essentially, with no building a pest, no finance clause, a cash unconditional contract. And the reason I made that offer is I could see at 480, it was close to land value. And so the building was, I'm paying 50 or 80 or 100K for the building, not a lot of money. And when we're looking at a brick veneer house with a new ColourBond roof and gutters on it, just for that money alone, I saw good inherent value. Now, it's nothing pretty, so we need to pare back all the gardens before we rent it out. We need new blinds, we need painting, we need flooring. Everything needs to be done, essentially. The kitchen is currently under renovation, but this kitchen had been on fire. The ceiling fan had been patched up. The oven and cooktop had definitely been on fire at some point. The guys have gotten in there, they've ripped all this out, and we're starting afresh. As we come through, the bathroom might have looked okay, and we actually thought the bathroom was going to be better than it was, and we're just going to do a new shower, which is only going to be, $4,000, maybe $5,000. The reality is we're having to rip the bathroom out completely because water has gotten in through all the beams. Now, this house is raised up off the ground, so it's about half a foot off the ground, and so we can get under there and put new beams in, but that means more cost. And so a whole new bathroom is going to run $25,000. And that's what we're looking at in terms of the cost there. Now, the surprising thing about this 567 square meter block is that you can put a granny flat out there. That means that you can put a secondary dwelling with a 2-bed, 1-bath dwelling out the back with its own carport and car parking space, even on this block size, because there is room to do that out the back. And I may do that down the track, but I have no plans to do this in the short to mid term because I've got other project sites in Southeast Queensland, which I think have better yields and better upside as well, doing multiple dwellings in Queensland. These rooms just need, again, they've got vaulted ceilings, just needs flooring, paint, wardrobes and blinds just to really freshen it up. And the same here, vaulted ceilings in this living space, blinds, flooring, very much a tidy up. We're going to also do the exterior. So it's been painted once before, but we're going to render it and give that a full finish as well. And then it shows the local park here too. And again, trim up the front, clean everything back, get rid of all these shrubs, get rid of all this and keep the nice big established tree and get rid of the other foliage there as well. Now this shows you a floor plan of the property so you can get that drivable access. So we're not going to do a strata title here. We would just do a granny flat out the back, that 2-bed, 1-bath dwelling, because you need wider access if you're going to do it as a strata title. You can see you enter into here. You've got that kitchen, living, dining all connected, which we're ripping out this section and just having an L-shaped kitchen in here. We're ripping out the bathroom, doing a new bathroom, and then tidying up all the rest of the spaces. And this just gives you that vertical view of how you would be able to put a dwelling out the back as well, and getting parking in front for the front dwelling and parking towards the back for the back dwelling down the track. Now you might be wondering, are you crazy, Luke, taking on a renovation in this environment? We've got fuel crisis, Iran, cost of living. Why on earth are you buying a property for $480K and looking to take on a major renovation project? For me, it's all about the numbers. So I want to show you a breakdown of all the items we're planning on doing and why we're planning on doing them. And the reason is, if the numbers work, it's worth taking on these types of projects. If I was to buy a fully renovated, fully finished product, what is the end value? And then I work backwards for that end value. Now, I think comfortably a fully renovated property like this one on this block size in a cul-de-sac in Breakwater will probably sell between $650,000 to $700,000. That's if everything's brand new. So brand new stone bench tops, kitchen, tiles, backsplash, brand new bathroom, brand new beams, brand new flooring, everything. So if we work off 650, which is the low end of that range, I need to do this project. You can see the disparity is 650 take 480. So that leaves about $170,000 of gap between the end product and the cost to get to that end product. So using that math, if I can do this for about $120,000, which is a buffered number, then I'll be all in and making a 50K profit. Now, a lot of people in the comments are going to straight away saying 120 grand renovation to make a 50K profit, you must be crazy. But the market has changed since COVID. When Emily and I were DIY renovating, we would expect $2 for every dollar that we were doing on a project. So if we spent 50 grand, we would ideally get another 50 grand out of that project. Now, the difference was we were on the tools. We were renovating, we were painting, we were flooring, so we were getting it at cost price, and we weren't essentially valuing our time. This is going to be outsourced with a legal builder, so a fully fledged builder. Every single item is going to be professionally done, and I won't have to go down and lift a finger to actually execute the project other than paying all of those bills. Now, I've budgeted about $110,000 to complete the project, And I ideally originally wanted to do the project for about 85K. But that was not expecting to rip out and completely redo the bathroom, which is the headache of buying a cash unconditional property that needs more work. Now that's okay. So let's say it's 110K. So I'll be 480 cost price, another 110 grand into the project. So that's 490 plus another 100K. So 590 with an end value of at least 650. So that's a 10% profit margin. Now on a basic cosmetic renovation with a 6-month timeline, I'm very happy with that. I'm happy to make 50 to 60K comfortably and probably more because I'm running the numbers conservatively on the end value. It'll probably be worth closer to 700, but I like using 650 and running my numbers conservatively. If that jumps by another 40 to 50K on the end value, closer to that 700 mark, which there are comparable sales out there for nice renovated new properties, that would mean the profit goes from 60K to 110K, which is your dollar for dollar return. Myself as a professional buyer's agent, a chartered accountant, and an investor, I never want to be overzealous with my reno costs. I want to be overzealous with my reno costs and undershoot my end value so that I'm more conservative in the numbers. And that's what I'm doing here. So let's unpack this list and look at all the items that I'm doing for around that $110,000 spend. Now, when you buy the worst house in Geelong, you expect the list to be pretty long on your quote. So let's unpack the quote and look at each of these individual line items to get this house up to scratch. On screen here, you can see here is all of the items listed by my builder. It's a massive long list. But the great thing is you want your builder to do this. You want your builder to be very clear and direct about all the items being done in each of the areas. So this first area here is just the bathroom. So you see, the builder's been very specific with what they're doing and what they're not doing. So they're saying remove and dispose existing bathroom fixtures, wall tiles, floor tiles, plasterboard, redundant fittings, rectification of the wall framing where necessary. They're doing the demo work. They're looking at the installation of a new shower base, fit off of plumbing fixtures and tapware, disconnection and reconnection of any services where required, lighting points are all going to be dealt with as required, electrical fit-off required. This is all being managed by a licensed builder. Wall and floor preparation, installation of new sheets, waterproofing, supply and installation of wall tiles. The list goes on. There's just so much in there. So you can see the builder's been very clear with us about what he's doing and what he's not doing, what he's going to keep up with in terms of standards and what's not covered in his quote. So I've been burnt in the past. I did a major renovation project when Emily was going through a cancer journey, and we were working on a variation with the builder. So it was section by section. And what we found is we got more and more burnt as the project went along in terms of pricing, because the builder knows that they've locked you in and they know that it's going to be very difficult for you to go to other builders or other options at that point once you're halfway or 3/4 of the way through a project. So this time around, we've learned from our mistakes and we're making good decisions here, getting this all quoted and priced up front. When you buy the worst house in Geelong, you need to do that. And so here we go onto the kitchen. So they're going to remove the old kitchen, which has been done as we speak. They're doing a demolition of the appliances, remove the wall as required, redundant plumbing, alteration, installation and relocation of points, dishwasher connections, stone bench tops, splashbacks, cooktops, ovens, range hood, dishwasher is all included. Then we're moving into painting. So they cover everything off in the painting section. So gap filling, mold removal, cleanup, multiple coats, woodworking, fascia, eaves, all those things. Color white. Then we move into flooring. So you can see supply and install hybrid flooring for these areas. And they're giving us pricing for that. Carpet in the bedrooms. We're going to confirm that color. Removing the old heater as well. Cooling systems and patch the bricks before painting. A new split system. New block-out blinds, removal and rubbish cleanup, and then garden tidy up as well. So you can see the builders here have done an awesome job. There's just so many items here: bathroom, kitchen, painting, interior, exterior, flooring, and then all your final tidy up items are nice and clearly listed here as well. You can see those ones there are kind of out of the ordinary or other items that he's listed clearly in his quote. Now, all up, this is a $100,000 quote. And so I bought the property for $480,000, $100,000 going there, plus interest and costs and extras and odds and sods. So expecting that to be $110,000 to $120,000. And that's how, after 6 months of time and a lot of effort and management, that you can make $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 on the end value. Now, I wanted to show you guys a realistic version of what it's like to buy one of the worst properties, worst streets in terms of the house, but you got to buy well in terms of the location. The reason I like this property so much is I saw value in the land, location, and proximity to the CBD. This Street, specifically in Breakwater, was close but not too close to the race course, close but not too close to schools, shops, commercial, and the CBD as well, train lines, infrastructure, and was already landlocked and had access to the Bayside. Now, other buyers agents and other property punters are buying houses here for $650, $700, even $750 for similar 3-bed, 1-bath homes on similar block sizes. So if I can do this for $110K, bring the property up to scratch, I'm going to be rewarded financially by comparable sales being that 50 to 70 to 100K higher, depending on those final numbers. So this is not easy to do. This is not my first rodeo. I've renovated over 10 properties the last 10 years, and I've certainly made mistakes. I've had issues, I've had headaches, but what I've found, and hopefully this is a big takeaway for you from this video, what I've found is the way you remove the emotion, the way you remove these hurdles and overcome them, it allows you to make more money and be okay when there's problems that arise. You know, me buying this property and then finding major issues. There was a minor fire on the cooktop, and there was holes in the floors in the bathroom, and the beams are all completely rotted out. If you have contingency and you can ride out those issues emotionally more than anything, that's where I see the biggest thing for a lot of buyers and people purchasing in the property market. If you can ride out those issues and come up with solutions, cost-effective ones, they're going to get you to that end goal. That's where you can make money. The really exciting thing for me is if I make $50K on this project, that's money I didn't have to go to work for. That's increased value on the balance sheet that I didn't have to pay taxes for or go to a lender for. And so that's money that I could then refinance and leverage and go again on. And so that's why I like these projects. When you're getting 50 cents at a minimum for every dollar spent, that's what I think realistically you're going to get in this market these days. You're not going to get dollar for dollar unless you're DIY renovating. But if I'm targeting 50 cents on my minor cosmetic renovations up to 100K, I don't really want to be doing major projects unless they're full-on strata, subdivisions, and new builds. So my new builds are going to be 400K, my renovations are going to be up to 100K, and I'm looking for 50 cents on my cosmetic renovations when I'm completely outsourcing it at this point in time in the 2026 property market. So leave a comment down below. Did I buy the worst house in Geelong? Is it fully irreparable? Would you never take on a project like this? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Hopefully you got value out of this video. If you did, like the video, subscribe to the channel. And if you're looking for a buyer's agent in Melbourne or Southeast Queensland, head over to purposeproperty.com.au to book in a chat with myself. Click this video here, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.